Good afternoon. My name is Leah Peckham, and I'm here with a very special guest, my grandfather, Harry Booth. Thank you for being here. We're very happy that you chose to be part of this exciting project.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me, Leah.
Of course. All right. So what branch of the military were you in?
I was in the United States Marine Corps.
Really?
I was.
And how was that?
That was challenging, to say the least.
Oh, I believe it.
But we got through it okay.
Mm-hmm.
I wound up getting promoted to Sergeant E5.
Really?
And I was in there for 4 years. I did not go to combat.
Wow.
I joined in 1967. In June, I signed up in June 1967.
Mm-hmm.
I went on the 90-day delay program where
Oh my gosh.
I didn't have to report to boot camp till September.
Wow.
So I had the summer off.
Oh, there you go.
And then I reported in September I went to Paris Island.
Wow.
On our way there, we left from Boston on a train.
Really?
And there were 8 of us going to Paris Island, and the rest were going in the Army. They were going to Fort Jackson. An Army sergeant called us all together, Marines and guys going into the Marines, guys going in the Army, and he said, "Sit down, fellas, I want to tell you something."
Okay.
He says, when you get to boot camp, towards the end of boot camp, no matter what branch you're in, you're going to take a test. You do the very best on that test, because in some cases, it's going to determine who lives and who dies.
Oh my gosh.
So it made an impression on me.
Yeah.
It made an impression on everybody. We said, what this test? But the thing about it is, from that test, I realized how important it is what you're doing right now in school.
Really?
Because the test consisted of a lot of mathematic problems.
Uh-huh.
It consisted of reading comprehension problems. And it consisted of all those things. And those people that did not have the skills in those areas, they wound up with jobs in the service.
Yeah.
But the better you did, the better job you wound up with. They call it your MOS, your military occupation.
Oh.
You know. So that's what happened there. And the test was coming up. They were kind of subtle about it. Said, we're going to take tests today. And
Yep.
it was towards the end, and I figured, well, this must be the one. And it was. So I took that test, and I came out with a very, very good job.
Oh, good.
They were going to send me to, I was at Paris Island, South Carolina. They were going to send me to San Diego, California.
Wow.
To basic electronics school.
Oh, that's awesome.
I was going to go to this basic electronics school. And then I said, well, gee, I might be able to make a living out of all this. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I might be able to. And so we went to San Diego, went to the school, and it was a good school. And our class did so well. The class we were in the basic electronics school, ordinarily the classes that just got by, they would assign them where they would go afterwards. But we had 3 options. You could go to a radio, means repairing radios, working on radios.
Okay.
You could go to radar. You go into the radar
Ooh.
field. Or you can go into computers.
Oh, wow.
You could work into the computer fields. Well, to go into computers, you had to sign up for 2 more years.
Oh.
I had signed up for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
but to go into computers, you had to sign up for 2 more.
Okay.
And, you know, I was just trying to get used to the things the way they were.
Yeah,
Rather than add
yeah.
2 more years. So I said, let me choose radar. So I chose radar. And they had to send me to a different base for that.
Oh, really?
They sent me out into the desert, way out in near Arizona.
Oh my gosh.
a place called 29 Palms,
Mm-hmm.
and we did our radar training there. And after I was there for a while, it was quite an interesting base. They sent me from there, from 29 Palms. They sent me to a base in California, Santa Ana helicopter facility.
Ooh.
They had a unit that was assigned to the Epsilon radar set. So I got to the Santa Ana helicopter facility, which was not too far from Anaheim, which was where Disneyland was, you know.
Really?
So
Oh, wow.
it wasn't it was a nice assignment, you know.
That's awesome.
There was a bigger base nearby called El Toro,
Mm-hmm.
but we were at the Santa Ana facility, and it was a smaller base, but they had helicopters there, you know.
Yeah.
So we were there. I was there for, oh my goodness, I must have been there for over a year anyway.
Really?
And while we were there, the one thing they didn't have was the radar sets.
Huh.
They were still in Vietnam, and they were being rotated back. The unit was being rotated back from Vietnam. So we would go to work in the morning, and there's no radar sets.
Oh.
So they'd have us maybe field day the barracks, clean some. We had little Quonset huts. They weren't barracks out there, little Quonset huts, and then there wasn't much else to do. So we spent the day playing volleyball.
Really?
You know, they had a big volleyball net out there, and then you go to the mess hall for lunch, and you report back, and you know, there really wasn't much to do with the radar sets not even being there. So that went on for a while, and we did the regular Marine Corps things. You know, we had to go to training, basic training for certain
Yep.
things. So we had to go for riot control training because there was a lot of riots going on at that time,
Yeah.
protesting the Vietnam War and stuff. And there was a very humorous thing that happened in this riot control training.
Oh boy.
What you'd have to do is they give you the rifle with the bayonet on it and all this and that,
Yep.
and you'd have to line up shoulder to shoulder, and you'd have to take step. So if there's a bunch of people in front of you, you're pushing them away, you're pushing them. But the whole thing was designed to work in a city because you had to line up from one building to the other, and the street was, you know, you had
Yeah.
all the people there that were rioting. So
Yep.
you'd have to keep stepping forward, and you know, when they, you know, and not break rank.
Yeah.
You know, and you keep pushing the people back. So you wanted to clear the area. So that was one of the things we had to do in our. We had the training sessions maybe once every other week for a day.
Yeah.
You go to whether it was, sometimes they'd have you go through the gas chambers. You know, you have to.
Oh.
They throw in these gas cylinders, and but then you have to put your mask on without panicking. You have to clear your mask, and you'd have to get that gas mask on so you wouldn't. So they, you know, you had to. Some people would panic because you can't. You know.
Yeah.
But you just had to be calm and just do it. Just like they said, clear the mask once you get it on, and you're all set.
Wow.
Well, anyway, the day came that now we're doing the riot control training, but the base didn't have buildings. I mean, they did. They could have used barracks if they wanted to, between two barracks that were lined up, but they decided to do the training in a football field.
Oh.
We had a football field, so we really turned it into a riot.
Yeah.
Here's what happened. They picked half of us out and said, "You guys are going to be the rioters." They picked me out and a bunch of the. Now you get down to that other end of the field and you start rioting, you know.
Yeah.
And we're going to come down in our formation, and we're going to do that. So they were coming down, they were stepping down from one end of the football field to our section where we're riding.
Yeah.
Well, we're stationed in Orange County, California.
Okay.
Santa Ana, I was in Orange County, California. And,
Oh, that's okay.
is this going to... Is this going to...
All right, it's okay.
I hope that doesn't mess things up.
No problem.
So anyway, we're in Orange County, California, and here these guys are coming down from one end of the football field with their rifles. They're all in line up. But the thing that was not realistic is there was no edges. In other words, because you're on a football field.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, look, there was this big water hose.
Oh boy.
Great big water hose. It was they use it to water the field and all that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's try this. We got a few guys on each end of the water hose, and then there was a fence around the base, and then there was an orange grove on the other side of the fence. But some wise guy had put I guess he wanted to go on Liberty without going out the main gate, so he put a barrel there. You could climb on the barrel, get over the fence, get through the orange grove,
Oh my gosh.
and go on Liberty that way. So they had this barrel there, So, a couple of guys on each end of the hose are running down the field, and other guys are going over the top, and they're throwing the oranges over that had fallen on the ground. They were, kind of rotten oranges.
Yeah.
They just fallen off the tree. I threw a bunch of them over, so we ran down. They were running down the field. They wrapped up the whole platoon with their rifles because they could get around the edges of them.
Oh my
With
gosh.
the hose, and now they're all trapped up there. And then they're throwing oranges at them.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my word! It started a real riot.
Oh, I
It started a
bet.
real riot. When they got down, it started fisticuffs and everything else.
Wow.
And this friend of mine, he tackled this guy, and he had his rifle. He actually broke his rifle.
Really?
He broke the butt. He fell and broke the rifle butt.
Oh my gosh.
And after that, they came out with a new order. It said, from now on, in riot control training, there will be no physical contact.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, that was one of the numerous humorous things that had happened
Yeah.
in my period there. Then one day, I'd been there about a year, and guess what?
What?
The UPS-1 radar sets came in.
Really?
And I was so delighted because actually I had gone through the training on one, but I never got to work on one
Yeah.
because all the training had to do with troubleshooting on paper schematics. You had to go through and they'd say, if this is going here, what's that? And you had to try to figure it out on paper. But I never actually got to work on one. So I was pleased to see them coming in. And but before that, my staff sergeant, who I liked, he was a nice guy. He was a good guy, a good A. He said to me, Booth, you want to put in for Hawaii? I said, well, what do you mean? Yeah, we got an opening in Hawaii.
Hawaii? Whoa.
Yeah, you want to go? I said, yeah. I wasn't about to pass that up. So he said, I'll put you in for it. So, and then the UPS-1s came in after that. So he had already put me in for this. So now there was this one senior sergeant that had a lot of familiarity with the UPS-1 set. And so he was, I was sort of sticking to him like glue,
Yeah.
And I said, the first time I went in one, I was shocked. The paper schematics that we used to use for troubleshooting looked nothing like what we were dealing with.
Oh no.
You opened up a box, and it was all these wires.
Uh-oh.
Just a mass. It looked like a bunch of spaghetti.
Ooh.
And I said, said, yeah, he said, it's not like the type of troubleshooting, is it? You know, because everything was laid out flat, you know.
Yeah.
But here it was, so he was sort of helping me to show how to, you know, troubleshoot the things in the inside of the radar set. And I was there 1 week, about 1 week working with him, and the staff sergeant said, he said, Booth, your orders have come in to Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I had only 1 week really to work on the F1 radar.
Oh.
I said, oh, okay. Off I went. I went to Hawaii. I checked into a unit in Hawaii. It was in Kaneohe Bay.
Wow.
The Marine Corps station in Kaneohe Bay. It was on the far side of Oahu. The island of Oahu is where Honolulu is on one side.
Yeah.
Then there were these mountains. They call them the Pali Mountains. They were the mountains in Hawaii. Look just like if you're drawing a mountain on a you know, you're drawing it. They're nice. They're very sharp.
Oh, really?
They were volcanic mountains. They were formed by volcanoes, so they were sharp mountains. It looked just like. And so anyway, Kaneohe was on the other side of the island, opposite Honolulu. And I checked into my unit, and the guy's filling out the paperwork, and he says, "Why did you send you here? We don't have any F1 radar sets.
Oh.
What are we going to do with you?" So the captain says, "Well, send them to the put them on the TACAN." Now, what is a TACAN?
Exactly.
I had no idea what a TACAN was. I never even got the. Anyway, so there I go. I was going to the TACAN. Well, what the TACAN was, it was a piece of equipment that would identify planes.
Oh.
It could identify friend or foe planes.
Oh, really?
What it would do is it would send a message to a plane,
Yep.
you know, electronic message, and our planes had a receiver in the plane that would pick up the message.
Yeah.
So that would tell them that this plane is our plane. It's not an enemy plane.
Oh, wow.
And so that worked out. So I reported, and I was stationed also, the TACAN was stationed on Kansas Tower.
Ooh.
Kansas Tower was the first place that get hit when they attacked Pearl Harbor,
Really?
because the Japanese planes came over the island from the far side also. They hit in Honolulu, you know, where our ships were, but they also sent planes over the far side. And PFC Kansas was the first American killed in the attack. He was up there manning the machine guns, trying to shoot them down, and
Yeah.
he died on that mountain. The Kansas Tower was a mountain, and it looked just like a storybook mountain. It had, you started at the bottom, and it had a road going up, and it went around and around and around and right to the top. You got
Oh.
to they had the TACAN facilities, they had the antennas up there, and everything else you needed, and there was the building up there, and that's where I wound up being stationed.
Yeah.
Now the only problem is I had absolutely no training on this piece of equipment, but we did have civilian civil service employees working there during the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were a big help to me.
Yeah.
And so we had to do a lot of replacing of power tubes and things like that, which are simple to do. And fortunately, we had 2 TACAN machines in that building. So if there was something wrong with one, you could have another one online,
Yeah.
you know, while you were trying to fix the first one.
Yeah, that's smart.
Unlike some of the Navy ships, I met some friends that were, they sent me to a Navy base afterwards for training on the TACAN, and I was stationed with a bunch of sailors that were doing the same thing, but their TACANs were on like destroyers. and they would help guide the airplanes back to the carriers. They would go as they would have a destroyer go out with a carrier, because the carrier couldn't carry all the equipment it needed, you know, because it had all these planes to take care of and stuff. So they had the destroyers were out there, and they had their TACAN equipment on the destroyer, but they only had one.
Oh,
They only had one.
well, that's
And I-
not good.
I felt a little, I told these guys, I said, at least I have two when
Yeah.
you guys are out there. Well, but anyway, so that went on. We wound up back at Kansas Tower now. We wound up, you know, making out the best I could. And the captain, our captain was getting short. It was time for him to retire.
Yeah.
And I'd been in by that time I'd been in the service for about maybe 3.5 years, going on before I had a 4-year enlistment. So I had like a year to do, you know.
Yeah.
Somebody says, Booth hasn't been to TACAN school, has he? And they said, no, he hasn't. Send him to TACAN school. So they put in orders, they cut in orders for me to go to TACAN school, which is in California at Treasure Island, which is a naval station in California. And so I got to go there. That's why I got sent to the TACAN, the training for the TACAN. And let me tell you something. It was excellent training.
Really, I'm
Excellent
glad.
training. We had the paper troubleshooting in the morning,
Yep.
like we did. But unlike with the upswung radar set, in the afternoon, we got to work on the actual component.
Oh.
We got to go in there with oscilloscopes and everything else and check things out. And I said, oh, this is great. So that was working out well. And, you know, the sailors, I was stationed in a Navy barracks. I'm a Marine in a Navy barracks, and they don't always get along too well. You know?
Yeah.
They didn't even realize we had an air wing in the Marine Corps. We had an I was in the 3rd Marine Air Wing. And they were surprised to hear that. They just thought they had military police and infantry, you know.
Yeah.
It's because that's what they were encountering, you know. So I said, oh, no, we have our air wing. And so anyway, they'd invite me to go out on the town with them this time, but I would say, I'm just going to go down to the gym. I'm going to go down to the gym.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the rest of the story here. Going back to boot camp. We're back in boot camp now, back in Paris Island. And boot camp was not an easy experience. It wasn't easy for me. I didn't like people standing in my face and screaming at me.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
I would get a little nervous, you know, and
Yeah.
things like that. And so things like that were going on. And anyway, there are natural leaders in a group. And I'm going to tell you about a hero.
Okay.
He's a real hero. I don't know if he's ever been recognized as such, but he is a hero. His name was Paul Grasso. He was from Quincy, Massachusetts. All-American guy, played football and the whole 9 yards in high school, you know. And he became my squad leader.
Okay.
He was just a natural leader. He was, he had that, and he could sense when there was trouble, and he could sense what to do to get out of it. They had boot camp. They had very strict rules, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, very strict rules. You could break the rules without even knowing it sometimes, you know.
Uh-oh.
Well, one of the rules, the way it worked, in the morning, you would think you'd have time. They'd put the lights on. You'd think you'd have time to make your bed. No, it didn't work that way.
Really?
When they put the lights on, you better be fully dressed, standing in front of your bunk, and your bunk made.
Oh
so
my
you had
gosh.
to do it in the dark.
Ooh.
So everybody's up doing that, doing that, doing that. Well, we had a situation, whatever you do not sit on your bunk after you've made it.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. And so here was a situation. We were now, towards the, later on in my time at Paris Island, you were going to the rifle range to learn
Yeah.
how to shoot. And this was another problem. I had only fired, Lincoln Park used to have a shooting gallery
Yeah.
with 22s, and they had these little birds, metal birds, and that's the only time I shot. And I shot that once.
Oh.
That's the only time I'd ever shot, you know, and there were a lot of people like that
Yeah.
that had grew up in a city situation where they weren't hunters, they didn't, you know.
Yeah.
So it was a real disadvantage. So that was probably one of the toughest situations I encountered, was at the rifle range. The first day, we had to, the first week, they sent you there for 2 weeks. And when you went to the rifle range, you moved from the barracks you were in, on the main side of Paris Island, on the recruit base. They sent you to another barracks way out in the part of Paris Island, way out near the boonies and whatnot, where the rifle range was. And so we had the first week, you had to shoot. You had to learn to shoot in 4 different positions. They call the offhand position. You're standing up, and you got the rifle. You're standing up, and you're trying to hit the target.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, I believe that was like, I may be wrong about this. It might have been the 200-yard line or the 100-yard line. But they had different firing lines. In other words, where the earth was mounded up. So you did the offhand position from that line because that was the hardest way to hit anything.
Yeah.
Standing up, your rifle's swinging, and you gotta just squeeze it just right, you know. So then you would back up to the 300-yard line. You would kneel. You get a kneeling position. You had to adjust your sling from your rifle. You had to do everything just so and adjust it.
Oh boy.
And from a kneeling position, there was a more stable position, so you could
Yeah.
hold the rifle better, because the rifle was resting on your knee. And then sitting, you had to sit down, and both legs were up in front of you. Your rifle was adjusted, and again, you shot there. Then you went to the 500-yard line, which is you're 500 yards away from the target. You're doing that laying on the ground. You're laying prone.
Oh my gosh.
So that's the most stable position to shoot from,
Yeah.
but you got 500 yards to now hit the target.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was struggling because I had never, like I said, the only time I ever fired was at Lincoln Park.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got through the first week was just, we call it snapping in, and all that was, you get into positions that you're going to shoot from, and they had these white barrels with black dots on them painted at different places on the barrel. So you just have to hone in on the black dot with your sight, and you have to practice squeezing the trigger without moving the rifle, you know, and just getting used to doing that. And now you're in the position with your sling adjusted and everything. And then that continued, but unfortunately, that was probably the most harassing time because the drill instructors would tell you, okay, I want you to go to the classroom now, put your rifles on safe, perfectly safe. Well, that wasn't the case of just putting the trigger thing, closing that. You had to put this, they call it a charger guide, which the bullets came in these little metal strips, and they were like that.
Yeah.
And these were the M14 rifle. It was an excellent rifle, but they didn't really use it in Vietnam. They had gone with the M16 because in the jungle they felt that they didn't need the distance that an M14 would carry, and the M14 was bigger.
Yeah.
But still, if I had my druthers, but they didn't send me to Vietnam, so I can't say. Anyway, we got through the snapping in range, and Paul Grasso was there, and he, like I said, he was a natural leader.
Yeah.
But one day, he didn't do something just right.
Oh no.
So and then that's another thing. You had to memorize your rifle number. If you didn't know your rifle number, you were in big trouble. Because each rifle had a number. You had to memorize that. And so they just come in, and you're in class, and they come in with these rifles and start reading off rifle numbers. These people didn't put their rifles in a perfectly safe position. And one day it was Grasso, if they called him.
Oh no.
He was squally. He goes up. They had him jam his finger into the breech of the rifle. They slammed the bolt on him, and he had to stand there like that. He was a tough guy.
Well, that must have hurt like crazy.
He was a tough guy.
Ooh.
So anyway, we got through that, and then the next week was you had 4 days of practice and 1 day of qualification. Friday was qualification day, and you had to score 190 points to qualify. The more points you scored, the higher you could get. You could have a marksman, you could have a sharpshooter, or you could have an expert. And these had different badges, And I had a friend of mine who I met there who was from Ohio, and he was sort of like me. He didn't have any shooting skills before that. So we were both sweating it out. In my case, I got down to my last shot from the 500-yard line. I qualified by 1 point.
Really?
I was able to hit it. So I got the maximum. My friend didn't make it.
Oh no.
Oh, and he wasn't the only one. There were more. There were some others that didn't make it. Well, they got harassed. It was another thing. There was harassment going on, and one of them was they would write in a big chalk on the back of each guy, KIA. KIA. What's KIA? Killed in action. You can't shoot. That's going to happen to you.
Oh.
So they had to go along like that, and the harassment like that. Anyway, we got through that all, and Paul, when we took the exams, Paul wanted to get into the infantry in the worst way.
Yeah.
And he's filing by the drill instructor, the head drill instructor, and he says, "Gunny, how can I become a grunt?" That's another term for infantry. And the drill instructor said, "Do poorly on the test." And he did. Paul could have done better than he did, but he.
Yeah.
And sure enough, the day comes when they're reading out our job assignments, and Paul became a 0311, which is a machine gunner.
Yeah.
And he was happy with that.
Oh, good.
And there were a number of other. There was one other guy, two other guys that came down with us from Massachusetts. They did the same thing. They all wanted to be infantry. They didn't want any of the other things. So anyway, as time went on, we went to our different units. We all went to. We went to our different bases. We went to.
All right, so we're just gonna we can do some of the editing. We're already going on 40 minutes.
Okay.
But we want to get to who's the guy that's the hero?
Paul.
All right.
Grasso.
So could you just get to that, because a couple of kids have to leave
I
and
will
stuff.
do that.
So
I will do that.
so we'll just get it to
I
that.
can make that quick.
We're good. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So just pick up where you were.
Okay.
And then
All
we'll.
Yeah. All right.
All right. So here's what happened. We went to. we went to another base. I'm trying to think of it. It was in North Carolina. I don't know. I guess I'm getting old, but
That's okay.
anyway, we went to another base, and anybody was going to the schooling. Anybody who was going to schools, like I was going to electronics school. Would be in one unit, and Paul and anybody going to the infantry, armored or tanks, artillery were in another unit. So they broke us up there. And last I saw him was he was marching them off, and they picked him out. Being a natural leader that he was, they picked him out. He was marching the group off. So anyway, as time went on, getting back to when I was at Treasure Island, I went to the gym one day, and I meet this guy there that was with us in boot camp. His name was Lucius. He was in my platoon, and I said, Lucius, how you doing? I mean, yeah. He said, and he was talking with a gravelly voice, and he said, yeah, we got over here. I got wounded. He said, I got shot in the throat, and he was talking in a gravelly voice. And then he showed me his arm. He had a bullet went through his arm. He said, and I said, what happened to Grasso? What happened to Paul? He says, the gunnery sergeant at Parish Island said, Grasso, you're going to die over there. You care too much.
Oh my
You
gosh.
care too much about others. You care too much. So Paul went knowing he might not be coming back. But he went.
Wow.
And guess what?
What?
This is just what happened. They were on maneuvers, and the North Vietnamese army had ambushed them.
Yeah.
And they were pulling back. The unit was pulling back, and what they did was in Vietnam, they had these trails. You know, if you stayed on the trails, fine. But what the Viet Cong would do is they would jury-rig the trail where they put all these bamboo shoots, and then they cover it with dirt. It looked just like a part of the trail.
Yeah.
And underneath they had these spikes inside. About 5 feet into the ground, they dug these things. And they're pulling back, and I guess one of the fellas fell into one of these things. He's now trapped, and they're coming. Grasso, being the hero that he was, he went back, and he got him. He pulled that man out.
Really?
He yanked him right out of that hole, saved his life, but they got him.
Oh no.
He right across his chest. They got him.
Ooh.
A true hero. I will never forget him. I have mass respect for him. A true hero.
That's amazing. Sounds like
So-
he was a great leader.
He was. He was a natural born leader. And I know I've gone on
It's okay.
quite a bit. So
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming, and I enjoyed hearing your story, and I love you.
I love you too, sweetheart. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about Paul Grasso,
Anytime.
because he was a true hero.
It was amazing having you and hearing your story.